Are you ready for a delicious meal and a great time? Then head to the Hoosier Ice House, located in beautiful downtown Lawrenceburg. Whether you're craving a juicy burger, a fresh crisp salad, or something in between, the Hoosier Ice House has a fantastic lunch and dinner menu to satisfy every taste. And when the weather's calling your name, their amazing outdoor venue is the perfect spot to relax and enjoy your meal. Soak up that downtown atmosphere. We also want to give a huge thank you to the Hoosier Ice House for being a proud sponsor of the Rock Solid Families podcast. We truly appreciate your support in helping us build stronger families in our community. For great food, great service, and a fantastic outdoor experience, make your way to the Hoosier Ice House in downtown Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Come on down to the Hoosier Ice House, where good times are always on tap.
Welcome to the Rock Solid Families podcast. I am Linda Hutchinson here with my person, Merle. Hi, honey.
Your person.
Well, we're talking about finding your person, finding your people in a lonely world. So you're my person.
I guess at least I'm not a dog.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're one of my people, but we are talking about finding your people, people who make you feel safe, people who you can do life with. In a world, hon, that is so disconnected and isolated, I think this is a really important topic.
So, yeah, definitely. We see more and more people coming in with loneliness, and it's really weird because we feel more socially connected than ever in terms of our phones, in terms of knowing social media. But the bottom line is that there's a lot of lonely people out there.
Yeah.
They don't have their core groups. They don't know who they would call if they ever needed help. And so, you know, there's a lot of risk with that.
Yeah. I mean, think about it, hon. I mean, I've had clients that have said, I could go days without talking to anybody because they're working from home. They do telehealth. They're ordering everything on Amazon, and they even have their groceries delivered. You know, they're turning to the internet for their social life instead of people. So it is, you know, how do you find friends in a place where people really just go in their garage and then shut the door? They don't even talk to people as they're getting out of their cars anymore. Yeah.
Well, the whole idea that you rely on your neighbor for things, people just don't rely on their neighbors for much anymore.
They don't even know their neighbors.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to go out of the house, like you said. I can order everything online, and so I can stay in the house.
You can get that cup of sugar on Amazon within the day.
Yeah. You know, hon, but there's also, along with the loneliness, there's a lot of health risk to it.
There is.
We have seen increases in depression and anxiety, even physical symptoms of arthritis, inflammation, weakened immune systems. Like these things are real. Yeah. And you find out that it's loneliness, but also being shut in, that their bodies just are not responding to it. So the whole thing is kind of messy. And the question might be like, why are we putting ourselves in that?
I know. And you know, even dementia, when you're not working your mind and in conversation and connection, substance abuse. Right. I mean, this is when people will just go numb the pain because they're not sharing the load and they're not sharing their hearts. And so they just kind of turn inward. So yeah, I mean, depression, hopelessness, all of that stuff comes from loneliness. Not directly only from loneliness, but it's a huge contributor to it.
Yeah. Why do you think people are inclined to seek a livelihood that is going to leave them lonely? In other words, closing their garage door once they pull in, you know?
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that. Before we do, though, I think we need to thank our sponsors. We need to thank Casey's Outdoor Solutions. We need to thank the Hoosier Ice House and Maxwell Construction for their support and really partnership in this ministry that is really all about people and all about connection and all about healthy relationships. So if you know anybody from those organizations, from those businesses, please tell them thank you for what they're doing here.
All right. So also we have our Families Rock. So that's our parenting class that we do the fourth Saturday of the month. So the next one will be on August 23rd from 8:30 till noon. But listen up, it's going to change its location. And so we are now at the Care Resource Center. And so that's located down 132 Industrial Drive down in Lawrenceburg. Yep. So 132 Industrial Drive in Lawrenceburg, and that's the Care Resource Connection Center. So Yeah, I can't wait to have our class down there.
Yeah, it'd be easier. We don't have to haul our stuff all the
Yeah,
way down
yeah.
to the firehouse. But hun, this show really came as an inspiration from a book that I had read a couple times, just recently again, by Jenny Allen, called Find Your People. And she really talks about the biblical call to community and the barriers to connection. And the steps to get those life-giving relationships. And so I really thought this would be a great show because we've had so many examples lately in our own life. My dad is in a rehab facility right now, and I ate lunch with him the other day, and there was a woman there, hun, who lost her husband 13 or 14 years ago, and she has no family, no children, no siblings, no parents that's still alive, and she has been alone for 13 years in an assisted living, and then she fell, and so she was where my dad was, and the women at the place where she used to live came to visit her, and I thought, wow, and she was just lit up with how they brought her cookies and how they came to visit, and I'm like, if they had not done that, like, who would have come to visit her?
Yeah.
Well, so sad.
My dad and your dad are in those types of facilities. Hopefully your dad temporarily. But my dad's roommate, when he first moved in, just for the sake of, I won't divulge his whole name, but we'll just call him Jim. He, after about 2 weeks, I said, Jim, how you doing? He said, I'm lonely. And he had visitors every day.
Yeah.
But the idea here is that he's lonely because he's not with his people.
Right. Doing
not
his
in
things.
his element. Yeah. And so it's really sad. But I don't see that getting better in terms of our smaller families and more distance between our family members.
Yeah, we tease our daughter all the time. Out of 5 kids, we tell her she's the one that's going to be, spoon feeding us and doing our personal hygiene. She's thrilled
about that. Yeah.
But God designed us for connection. I think of Genesis 2:18. It says, the Lord God said, it is not good for man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him. And of course, he was talking Adam and Eve, but we all need people. It's not good for us to be alone.
Yeah, Ecclesiastes 4:9-12. 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if 2 lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, 2 can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. And so this passage here goes through a whole different series of different things of why 2 is better than 1 when you're trying to do life.
Yeah. So let's talk about some common barriers to connection, because I think that, and I really want you as a listener to think about this and like, okay, what are my go-to excuses? What is it that I generally claim to be the problem? And one of them is busyness. I mean, in our overscheduled world, I mean, you and I share a Google Calendar and we're constantly adding and subtracting things to that. And it's like, oh my gosh, sometimes the whole calendar is full of different colors and different things going on. And so sometimes we'll say we don't have time. I don't have time to go visit my dad, or I don't have time to talk to my neighbor. And so that's an obstacle from authentic community. And we have to acknowledge that, like, man, we got to slow down. We got to be present in relationships and conversations, I think.
Yeah. Another one, hon, is just the amount of social anxiety we have, the fear of rejection.
Yeah. Like,
people make us nervous. How will we respond to them? How will we handle ourselves? And so, we've joked before, people take my battery and pull it down. People take your battery and build it up. But I have to be in a right frame of mind, in other words, a high battery level for people to do people, right? To just engage. And so the idea here is, if I don't feel like I have that, I will resist being with people.
And it's something as simple as you and I as a couple asking another couple to dinner, the fear of them saying, well, no, we're busy.
Yeah.
or sorry, we don't want to have dinner with you. I don't know if they would say it that way, but there's
Maybe.
that fear there of like, they don't want to be our people. So there's that fear of rejection is definitely a huge one.
Yeah. The older we get, the more bridges that have been burnt,
Yeah.
right? There's wounds from people. We've wounded people. And so there's just scars. And sometimes we don't navigate or heal those scars well. So there's another reason why we sometimes find ourselves alone.
Well, and I would even call that, to a level of unforgiveness. We are holding grudges, right? We're resentful of people who have hurt us in the past. That's where church hurt comes in. I mean, you and I have talked to our clients so many times about, hey, you're lonely, or, you're trying to find community. How about in the local church? Oh, no, not the local church. Growing up, this happened to my family, or you don't know what happened to me. And it's like, wow, you're missing out on a huge, rich gift that God wants to give us called connection and community.
Yeah. Hun, there's all kinds of different things that we talk about that are almost like prideful things. I don't need anybody else.
Oh, yeah.
I'm independent. I am self-sufficient. And there's a reason that we should have some self-sufficiency, right? Like we don't want to have to rely on people for everything. But when we don't rely on people for anything, it also then puts us into a place of loneliness.
Yeah.
And so there's a fine line there, a balance that we want to seek.
Yeah, there's this cultural myth there that somehow if you need people, that makes you weak. And no, it's like, no, that makes you healthy. And also, hun, these things, if you're not watching and listening instead, these screens, these digital kind of addictions, these digital substitutes, this World Wide Web that we think brings us friendships and connection. And it's honestly really isolating us even more, especially when I'm sitting next to you in a chair in bed and I've got a screen open and I'm scrolling. That breaks down connection. If you're I was sitting in a waiting room the other day in a doctor's office, and every single person's on their screen. And then this older lady came, and she probably doesn't use a cell phone very much. And I just started to engage with her, and she was the sweetest woman, but I would have missed out on that if I had gone to my screen. I'm not saying I don't go to my screen sometimes, but like that should be my last resort.
All right. So what does a healthy community look like, right? So we're talking about the idea here of the importance of community, but we're also talking about the importance of a healthy community, one that's going to build you up, okay? Yeah. And so a healthy biblical community is the whole idea of the idea that we're even saying biblical means that we have a shared purpose or mission, right? So when we are in community, do we have things in common? Mostly purpose and mission.
Yeah, I can't tell you how jazzed I was during we've had 2 partnership banquets, and we had hundreds and hundreds of people come who were all like-minded. They were there for the mission and vision of strong and healthy families and healthy communities. And that just fired me up because they were people that we went to school with, people that we live by, people that we go to church with. And it was like, we're all there for this shared purpose and mission. And man, that is healthy community.
Yeah.
And those are our people.
Yeah. And another one that we have to be able to get out of a healthy community is we have to be able to take our mask off. We have to be able to be vulnerable. We have to be honest. We have to, and that's one of the things that we challenge ourselves in a couple of the men's groups that are in is cut to the chase. Cut to the chase, right? Yeah. Like get the mask off.
Yeah.
If you're hurting, you're hurting. That's okay.
Yeah.
So it's important that we have a group of people that we don't have to always put on that face.
Transparency and authenticity, as well as accountability. That's another one. Like, if you're going to call them your people, then they have the right to speak into your life, and you might not always like it. And so they might confront, which hopefully it's biblical, where Matthew 18 says, go to that person privately if they've sinned against you. And if not, then, if they don't listen and change, then bring another person or 2 in. And so we want to do that biblically, but also challenge us, like thinking outside the box, out of our comfort zone. I need that badly. And I'm not going to do that on my own. I need some other people sometimes around me.
Yeah. The other idea here is our group has to be hospitable to us, has to be willing to sacrifice for us, has to be willing to go out of their way, not all the time, right? But the idea that people will do things for you. And so whether it's, hey, you're ill, do you have somebody in your court who would be willing to fix you a meal?
Yep.
Right? So who'd be willing to sacrifice for you, who'd be able to take care of you.
Yeah, for sure. And that's all really, that biblical community is really modeled from Jesus and his life and the early church. And that's how they, in Acts 2, that's how they broke bread together. And they shared everything together. And they made sure that all needs were met. Like, that's the healthy community we're talking about. And so to create your vision, we're going to try to talk about some specific practical ways, okay, to build healthy community and find your people. And so step one, hon.
Well, you have to initiate, right? So you have to be intentional. And so we oftentimes get into a place of, I know I should be, right?
Yeah.
But it takes initiation. And so, and sometimes, you don't realize that you need this stuff until it's too late. So all of a sudden, I know I need to get connected. I need to get connected. And then all of a sudden you have a tragedy of some sort and you're like, man, I know I needed to be connected, but I didn't build my connections.
Yeah.
And so you have to initiate this stuff and initiate it while you can.
Yeah. And do it before the crisis. Like you said, we had somebody call not too long ago that needed a tire, and someone referred them to us. And they thought that Rock Solid Families gives tires. I don't know.
Rock Solid Tires.
And I asked him, I said, do you have a church community? Do you have a faith family? No. And it's really hard to start one when you need the tire. But, initiating, look around, find the local church that's close to you that maybe has a children's program and serve in the nursery and get to know people, get to meet the pastor day, or, we had a huge fireworks concert thing. Come to that and introduce yourself to people. Don't sit on your hands and wait for someone to knock on your door. Go knock on doors. And the proximity of what's around you is really where you got to go. Who or what's around you that would make it easy for a rhythm to start becoming regular.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a lot of us like spontaneity. We can fly by the seat of our pants, but the predictability of that doesn't help build friendships.
No.
I'm guilty of that when it comes to, I like to ride bikes, right? And guys like to ride together. And I am guilty of not committing because I don't know when I'm going to be able to ride next, right? Like I'm going to wait until the last minute and go, okay, I have an hour and a half today, I'm going to ride. Whereas you have to be intentional about, hey, how about on Thursday nights we ride?
And you started to do that. You started to put it on the calendar and protect it because you were trying to build this discipleship community of guys who are loving bikes, and you're doing that on Friday afternoons. And so, it could be the woman that checks you out at the grocery. Keep going to the same grocery. Keep going to the same woman. Ask her name. Ask about her family. Maybe it's the couple that sits next to you at church. Introduce yourself. Ask about their family. The man who walks their dog. I won't name names, but I know of a single woman who met her husband. He was the guy that walked the dog in the neighborhood, and they stopped to talk and got to be friends, and super friends all of a sudden became dates, and now they're married. So find your rhythms and then connect with those around you in those rhythms. Our pastor was awesome. He knew every server at Skyline, their first names. He knew about their families. He'd ask about them all the time. Like, that developed friendships.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But part of then the friendship thing, hon, that we have to be able to include in this is to be vulnerable, to go deeper. I'm asking people to go deep, right? So, but I have to be willing to go deep. And how do I go deep? Well, not only do I need to ask questions about other people, but I have to be willing to share about some of my stuff. There's a balance here, though. Right?
Yeah.
Because there are some people who, when you ask them how they're doing, they're going to go and give you a whole dissertation. And so that can chase people away. Right? So the idea here that you check in and ask how others are doing, and and be willing to share a little bit about how you are doing.
Yeah. So I will tell you, early on in my ministry, I tried to be intentional of connecting with all the new moms by bringing them a meal when they first had a baby. And you signed up on this meal ministry thing. And I tell you what, that was decades ago. And I'm still friends with many of those women I met for the very first time. But I went into their home, brought them a meal, asked about them, connected with them and their family and their kids. And so therefore, when I would see them at church, I would know them by name and I would talk to them more. And some of those are some of my dearest friends, and their kids are now married.
Yeah.
But I met them bringing them a meal.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you have, when you talk about going deep with people and getting to know people, what's the difference between having a lot of friends and having a few close friends, right? Like, what's more important to you?
Yeah. Well, it talks about research that it takes 50 encounters just to have a casual friend. Like you see them at the store, right? Or at the Skyline or whatever. 90 for them to be a real friend. And so
90 encounters for you to get a real friend.
Yes. Yeah. Like they know you, you know them. And I will tell you, part of your job, if you need friends, if you're trying to find your people, is ask those people about themselves. Stop, like you said, stop just regurgitating and vomiting all of your problems and all of your stuff, because that sometimes does scare people away.
Yeah.
Early on, especially. But when you seek an interest, when you show an interest in someone else and you honestly have concern or compassion or empathy for them and real interest, that really draws people in. They want to be friends with somebody who cares about them.
Yeah, yeah.
How about you? Are you, because I guess I didn't answer the question.
Yeah.
Do you have a few close, or do you have
So
a
I
lot
am an acquaintance of many, all right? But I stay guarded, and I think I stay guarded. I think partially because of the type of work that we do. We're in people's business all the time, and the last thing we should do in our counseling work is to also then share all of our stuff with every client, right?
Well,
and
I'm not saying the clients.
No, again, just hear me, okay? And so the idea here is I stay guarded on that by my nature, all right? And so I'm only going to share deeply with a few. All right. So I know a lot of people, but I'm only going to share deeply with a few.
Yeah.
And that would be in my men's group, a couple of people outside of the men's group that, I'm comfortable enough to say, I'm okay with sharing that with you.
Yeah.
But I don't. So, and I think this is the deal. Well, what's the right amount? Well, what's the right amount for you? Like, I don't desire more. I think there would be a problem is if you desired more and you weren't getting it. That would be a challenge.
Well,
but if you only desired friends with two people, and you're happy with that, then who are we to say you need more friends?
Yeah. Well, and Jesus had 3 close friends, Peter, James, and John. Those were his closest friends and allies. Those are the people that went up on the mountain with him. Those are the people that were in the garden with him. And so those were the people where he was really the closest with. Then he had 12. Disciples. And so those were his good friends, right? The ones that he sent out to the mission. And then there was the 72. So that was like building outward. And so they were more casual friends and kind of connections. And so, we kind of have those circles too, where the closest maybe know the most. Obviously, you don't want like 72 to know it all. So, you want to find that accountability. So I feel like we're running from hard conversations anymore, and people who would be willing to challenge us or even correct us in the Matthew 18 principle. If you don't know Matthew 18, go and read that, where it says if someone sins against you, I mentioned to go to them and then bring another one. So we're letting pride and fear keep us from authentic, inspiring, challenging community, I think.
Yeah. No. And the question is like, why? Why are we doing that? And I think we've already answered that, like the fear and the energy that it takes and all of those kinds of things. And so, part of it is the idea of trying to get with people that you have that like-mindedness, you have that purposeness. Also, like, you got to like them. I mean, there's a personality thing here.
Yeah.
You know, I could have somebody who does all the same stuff that I do and all the interest, but if it's a personality difference, then, you know, that's not going to work.
Yeah. But iron sharpens iron. So one person sharpens another, Proverbs 27:17 says. And so, you know, you're going to find people. I want to find people who are different than me. I don't want everybody that looks and feels and thinks like Linda, because then I'm going to kind of stay in a rut. I do want, now again, my faith is really important. And so it's hard to be on mission when there's people who have, you know, definitely different missions. But, you know, I do want different kinds of people who get me out of my comfort zone. You know, you tried to get me that with working out. That didn't work out so well as far as like biking and running and that kind of stuff. You know, I think you thought I was going to be your workout partner and didn't work out. You love to work out. I hate to work out. I do, but I hate to work out.
Yeah. So again, the idea here, guys, is getting yourself connected and getting connected before the storms of life happen, right? So building your team, building your village. And, you know, we know that in this life we will have trouble. And so the idea here is let's not be running fire drills without doing any kind of practice.
Yeah.
Let's get our team built together.
One of the greatest ways we've been trying to do that here locally through Rock Solid Families is a group of middle schoolers in our local middle school we call Synergy. And Synergy comes from Ephesians 4:3, where it says, make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. And our goal is to really find like-minded students who love the Lord, who want to follow Jesus, who can be together in community in this big public middle school. They can find their people, and then they could have like-mindedness and shared vision and fun and connection there, so they can go out. Not saying we're a clique, but we're trying to find a safe place for our students so that they can be able to go in those hallways and on those teams and in those classrooms with a little bit more confidence and feeling connected.
Yeah.
You know?
So guys, if you are lonely or if you feel like your team is not well built, then the key here is to be intentional. We were just teasing with our nephew, and his wife just moved back into the area.
Yeah.
And she is just so gung-ho about building her team, right?
Yeah.
And so she's very intentional,
Yeah.
and to the point where it's like, oh gosh, doesn't that make you feel uncomfortable? But she is jumping in so fast, getting clicked in with different kind of groups, mom groups and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, she's going to be head and shoulders above a community that can protect her and help her and she can feed into.
Well, they were in the military for 10 years, and so they had to. I mean, when you're traveling around and you are in these little, you know, communities, you've got to go find your people or you will feel very lonely. And so, you know, if you are single or maybe a married couple or empty nester, you know, if you're really struggling, think about where those folks would hang out, people like-minded like you. And then is that someone, for instance, is it the bar? Is that who you want to be hanging with someone at the bar, you know, or is it a mom at the playground or a card club at the community center? You know, find the people. I mean, if you're not a golfer, you're obviously not going to probably join a golf club,
right?
You know, so find the things that interest you, find the kind of people that you want to be around, go to those places. I hear all the time about the grocery for a single guy. And you ask the girl, like, is this a good pepper? Is that, you know?
Hey, whatever works.
Whatever works, you know?
I think, hon, and kind of wrapping up, the idea is people are going to let us down, right? So you're going to build your community. You're going to have your family. Gosh, you know, we talk about all the time around Christmas and Easter, and we're getting all the family get-togethers together, and the dreadful thing of family tensions. Well, why? Because there's been breakdown in families. These are supposed to be people that are close to us, right? But there are breakdowns or personality differences. You're going to find that in your own community, right? And so don't disregard the whole community because of one bad incident or a bad relationship with one person. Don't blow that away and out of the water, because well, one, you should try to heal it, right? If it's possible to do that. But two, you might need that person. That's called, building the bridge rather than burning the bridge.
Yeah. And it's funny how we use two different standards. I was just listening to a podcast recently where we judge other people's character. Like, oh, they're lazy or they're irresponsible or they hate me. And then we want to be judged by grace. Like, like I got stuck in traffic or I forgot to put it on my calendar, for instance. I just stood someone up at lunch just yesterday.
You did?
Yeah, I did. I totally did not put it on my calendar. And she is in the parking lot waiting for me. And she's texting me. And I was in session. And so I didn't get it till an hour later.
Oh.
Thankfully, she's not judging me by my character that I
that
hate
you know
her.
Of.
No, she actually extended me grace already. But, the point is that she didn't say, one, I'm irresponsible, or two, you must hate me. She assumed, and she even wrote it in the text, something came up. And so I obviously apologized and said, I let her down. I let her down. And then I wanted to buy her lunch. She's like, you're not buying my lunch. But people are going to let us down, and we're going to let people down.
Right.
And so the key is that God will never let us down. The Bible says in Joshua 1:5, I love Joshua, no one will be able to stand against you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will never leave you or forsake you, God says. And I love that. What a reminder.
Yeah. So guys, it's community is important. And whether we want to stay more isolated because we can do everything for ourselves through the internet or whatever, it costs us something, right? And so what we're trying to say is build your community. Take one step today to start it. Make a phone call. Set up a lunch date, not with Linda because she'll stand you up. But the idea here is to start to build it now because you're going to need it later.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if we can help you in any way, if you're feeling hopeless, if you're feeling alone, if you're feeling depressed or isolated, man, that is of the enemy. That is not of God. God does not want that for you. He wants you to be in rich, healthy community and find your people with a shared mission and vision. So please reach out to us at rocksolidfamilies.org or 812-576-ROCK. That's 812-576-7625.
All right. So we also need to thank our sponsors again, right?
Yeah.
So let's thank Maxwell Construction, Casey's Outdoor Solutions, and the Hoosier Ice House for continuing to sponsor the work that we're doing here at Rock Solid Families. We also just want to thank you guys. I mean, you are part of our community. And as you said, Hun, at the beginning of the show, it is our different types of banquets and celebrations that we have, that we know that we have a common purpose with people. And so we just want to thank you guys for being part of what Rock Solid Families believes in. Yeah.
So please share the show. Tag us in the show. Let people know that you are part of our community. You are our people. We have this shared mission and vision. And so we would love to connect with you any way possible. So please reach out to us if we can. But otherwise, thank you so much for listening to the Rock Solid Families podcast, building a stronger community, one family at a time. Make it a great day.
Are you looking to spruce up your yard or maybe even the inside of your house? Look no further than Casey's Outdoor Solutions and Gift Shop. Located just outside of Bright, Indiana, Casey specializes in transforming the outside of your home with expert landscape services. And they'll even help you beautify the inside with unique finds from their charming gift shop. We want to send a huge thank you to Casey's Outdoor Solutions and Gift Shop for being a fantastic sponsor of the Rock Solid Families podcast. Their support helps us to continue to uplift families in our community. For all your landscape dreams and delightful home accents, visit Casey's Outdoor Solutions and Gift Shop, just outside of Bright, Indiana. That's Casey's, making your home beautiful inside and out. When it comes to building, you need a name you can trust. You need Maxwell Construction. Maxwell Construction delivers quality, whether you're looking for a new commercial space for your business or a dream residential home for your family. They build with integrity, crafting structures that stand the test of time. We want to extend a sincere thank you to Maxwell Construction for being a vital sponsor of the Rock Solid Families podcast. Their commitment helps us build stronger families in our community. For your next commercial or residential project, choose the proven quality of Maxwell Construction. Find them online or give them a call today. That's Maxwell Construction, building your future one quality structure at a time.